So welcome to another session of your WordPress website design. And in this module, we're looking at how to build your website. Looking at why is there a need of building a website? What do you need to build a website? Further between website design and website development. So let's look at the objectives. And we're saying that by the end of this module, should be able to define and understand the need of a website to a company. You should be able to understand the difference between design and development. You should be able to explain the qualities of a good designer, and you should be able to understand the cost implication of designing your website. So let's look at the importance. Why do we really need a website? Is there really a need to develop a website? For me, I think there is really a need. And why am I saying so? Because first, it's very hard to do marketing. I'm talking in this generation or this age, we're talking about digital marketing, and having a website and an online presence strategy allows you to market your business online. And that strategy in digital marketing starts from your website and goes into your online presence. And then there's an importance of a website because of credibility. So your website helps to establish credibility as a business, and it's come like a standard. When somebody tells you about a company, the first thing you do is to go online and look for their website. If they don't have a website, and then you start questioning if that company really exists or maybe it's a scam altogether. So a website develops credibility for your business. A website is also important because of sharing of information, and people will always search for the internet to know about products or services that they are purchasing. They can know about the brand features, price, size, color through your website because this information is posted on your website. So your website is a way of sharing information with your potential clients or potential customers. And then we talk about impressions. A website helps give a positive impression that your company is bigger and more successful because you have taken the initiative to have a website. And it's not only having a website, it's having a properly done website or properly designed website that is responsive to all devices that a user might be using. And then you're talking about establishment. So a website helps establish your business. In fact, customers today expect serious businesses owner to have an online presence. You are on Facebook, you have a website, you're on Twitter, you are on Instagram. So that's online presence helps establish your business. And it's true because 80% of your potential customers are online. They're browsing the internet looking for your website. They're browsing the internet looking for your Facebook page. Without a website, it doesn't really help your business as much. And then we can talk about branding. So a website will strengthen its brand, and the importance of website in marketing extend to every aspect of your digital marketing strategy. So in your digital marketing strategy, you must have a component of a website that is able to transform your potential clients into paying clients. So one of the importance of website is just branding for your company, and then communication. So every type of communication, piece of content or advertisement that you put online will drive consumers back to your website when you tell them to search for more information about your company, search for your product, search for your services that you offer. But also within the website, there's the contact us page where users can come and contact you through your contact page. And in that way, people are able to communicate with you through your website. So basically, those are the importance of website. Talk about communication, talk about impressions, talk about establishment, talk about branding, talk about marketing, credibility for your organization or for your business, and to pass information across to your potential customers. So having looked at the importance of having a website to an organization, let's now look at the difference between web designers and web developers. So looking at web designers, we are saying that a designer's responsibilities involve developing a vision on how the website will look, feel, and function, from user research and information architecture to topography and user interface design. So Basically, a designer's job is to look at how the website will look, feel, and function, what needs to be done on the website, or what information that needs to be passed through to the website. How does it look? What pictures do we need to input on the website? And then we have three types of designers, what we call the UX designer. So the user experience designer is basically more concerned about what needs to be done on the website. So if we have a registration page, in that page I should be able to register. If we have a contact us page, what needs to be done on that page as the user interacts with the website? And then we have the user interface design. Basically, this is the look and feel of the website in terms of font that's to be used on the website, in terms of pictures. And then we have the third one, which is a visual designer, which is a mixture of both UX, the user experience, and the user interface designer. So a visual designer is able to do both. He's able to do user experience and is also able to do user interface. On the other hand, we have what we call website developers. And we are saying that web developers will look after the code. So using various programming languages such as HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, a web developer will build a website framework and ensure it is bug-free and functions as expected. Contrary to a web designer, which is more of the look and feel of the website, a web developer is more about the functions of the website, how the website functions, and it deals with more about programming languages such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or other programming languages that are available. And then we have three types of web developers. So we have the front-end developer, who is more responsible about the coding, the mock-up design of the website. A front-end developer mainly works with programming languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and will implement the site layout, visual elements, and the interactivity of the site. So when you go into a site, the way you interact with the website, that's the function of a front-end developer. And then we have the back-end developer, another type of a web developer, often most instances called the engineer. Backend developer works behind the scenes. So the one doing the writing of the coding, the maintaining of the programs that power the front end of our website. So whatever you see on the front end, whatever you interact with the website, there's the back end to it. There's the software that runs that website. So the backend developer is concerned with the software that runs the website, maintaining application database. So backend developer work with a variety of side languages such as PHP, Python, Ruby, and Java. And then we have what we call a full stack developer. A full stack developer has sufficient knowledge on both the front end and the back end of the website development. So having looked at the definition and the types of web designers and web developers, let's now highlight the differences between web design and web development. So in web design, we're talking about the content management system, and this will be referring to WordPress, while in web development, talk about the programming languages such as HTML, CSS, and Java. And we are saying that the front-end design, web design is more about the front-end design of how the website looks, while web development is more about the back-end design of how the website works. So design is more concerned about how the website looks, while development is more concerned about how the website works. And then in web design, you require graphic knowledge. Talk about fonts you're going to use, talk about pictures you're going to use, talk about videos you're going to use. This information or this media will require graphical editing. And that's why in web design, you require graphical design knowledge. While in web development, you require programming language, because most of the time you'll be writing code to run the website. So you need to learn the programming languages that are available. And so in web design, you create the design using what you see is what you get, editors. So we talk about editors like Elementor. Normally, they perform their function using a drag and drop feature. So you don't have to do any coding in this aspect. What you see is what you get. While in web development, after designing or after writing the code needed for running your website, you need coding platforms to be able to run your website. And then in web design, you can use the content management system. And usually in web design, we use the content management system to design and deploy our website. While in development, you need a framework to be able to launch your code. So what you write is just code, which when taken to a browser cannot run the website. And that's why you need a framework to be able to convert the code into media that is now being displayed by the website. And then we have customization is limited in CMS and plugins, because plugins are already developed. They're like a software that is already developed. And then the customization is limited to what the plugins can do. So let's say I need something that would be done on the website. I'm only limited to the number of plugins that are available that can do that function. While in development, you're able to fully customize as per your requirements, because it is you who is writing the code for the function of the website. So you are able to fully customize the website as per your requirement. And then in web design, it is very easy to learn because there's no coding and we're using a content management system. While in development, it's very difficult to learn because you need to learn the coding. We're talking about CSS, talking about Java, we're talking about HTML, and the number of coding languages that are available even make it even harder, because we have several programming languages that employ their own frameworks. So you need to learn at least 2 or 3 coding languages to be able to become a web developer. So these are the major differences between web design, web development. And so let's look at the qualities of a web designer, because now we're focusing on web design. So what are the qualities that you need to have for you to be a very good web designer? And then we're talking about number 1, you need to be able to do research. So web designers should be able to conduct user research and have knowledge on how to create personas. So depending on the website that you are developing, you should be able to imagine the user who is going to use the website, and you're able to create a persona on what is his interest or what is his likes, what colors would he love to be available on the website, and you're able to create a website based on this user personas. And then you should be good at prototyping. So a good web designer should be able to determine and design the information architecture, user flow, create prototypes, and user testing profiles. So you should be able to determine the design of the information of the architecture, how the website will function, how the website will work, and you should be able to test the user profile. So a good web designer should have strong graphic basics. So we're talking about web design as a principle. Should be able to have the basics. So we're talking about balance, harmony, hierarchy, and we're going to discuss this a little bit further on in the next module when you're looking at principles of design, balance, harmony, and hierarchy. What do these terms mean? We're going to look at that in the next module. But a good designer should be able to have a strong graphic design basics, and a good website designer should be able to work with tools and software. Talking about softwares like Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop. You don't need to master them, but you should be able to work with the basics of these products, because you'll be able to work with different images or different videos in your website, and you need to edit these videos in its basic form. Maybe you need to resize them, you need to add text to the images. So Adobe products allows you to work with these images. So as a good web designer, should be able to work with these softwares. And then we're talking about creativity. So ability to work on a brief and interpret that information creatively to conceptualize brands and elements. Usually as a designer, client will give you a brief about what he or she requires in the website, and you as a designer should be able to employ your creativity to interpret this information and actually design a website based on this brief, and eventually the client will be satisfied by the work that you've done. A true interpretation of a brief by the client to actually an information that can be used to develop. And then we're talking about branding and styles. So as a good web designer, you should be able to develop and establish a style guide based on company style guides or your own style guides, and you should be able to maintain a consistency of this so that you're able to improve as a designer, you're able to maintain consistency as a designer, and in this it helps you develop qualities that people will look forward to while asking you to design for them a website. Think about web design as an art. You need to create your own identity in web design. So one of the biggest questions that I normally come across most of the time is people asking me, actually, what is the cost of building a website? So you'll find people building a website at cheaper prices than what you're likely to build a website to. But actually, what is the cost of building a website? When you quote for, let's say, 10,000 to build a website, how do you base that amount on the requirements of that website? And we're going to look at this on a step-by-step basis on actually what it costs to build a website. And the first thing while building a website that will cost you money is a domain name. Depending on your website requirement, you'll need to have a specific domain name for your website address. So a domain name is basically like an address of your website on the internet. For instance, nicktechnologies.co.ke or popularly jumia.co.ke. And domain prices vary depending on what we call the top level domains, or what we call the suffix. For instance, a .com is going to be a little bit more expensive than a .co.ke. So depending on your top level domain or the suffix, you're going to buy a little bit more expensive or cheaper. For instance, a .co.ke domain will vary from Kenya shillings 500 to Kenya shillings 2,500, and this is based on a yearly subscription. So, but depending on the suffix or the top level domain, it will cost a little bit more or cheaper. It also depends on who you're buying the domain from. So just like sellers, a bread might be cheaper here or it might be expensive on the other shop. And then we have an SSL certificate, what we call a secure socket layer certificate, are what enables the website to move from HTTP to HTTPS. We had discussed this a little bit earlier. So HTTPS is more secure, and an SSL certificate is a data file hosted on the website origin server. So depending on where you host your website, they're going to give you, or they're going to sell you for you, an SSL certificate. Most hosting normally have an SSL certificate as an added bonus, but in some other hosting you might be required to buy an SSL certificate. An SSL certificate for a year costs around 2,000 Kenya shillings. So add to the cost of the domain, you already have a figure that you need to charge your client. And we're going to look at more costs that are added onto the website. And the third one we're looking at is the web hosting. Think about hosting as the space that you want to build. You might have materials. You've already bought the materials, but if you don't have a piece of land that you're going to build on, then you cannot have anything. You might have the domain, you might have the SSL certificate, but if you don't have an hosting, then you cannot have a website. And there are a lot of different types of web hosting services, such as shared hosting. We have VPS hosting, WordPress hosting, dedicated hosting, so many others. And hosting starts at Kenya shillings 1,500 a year. So it actually depends on which type of a website. For instance, an e-commerce website, you'll need more specifications from the site. And then we have the actual web design itself. So this is the most expensive and influential. So website cost factors having a direct impact on the performance of your site. A responsive design, on the other hand, adapt your sites to the user device. For instance, we at Nick Technologies charge 10,000 shillings for up to a 5-page portfolio website. So this is the lowest that we charge for our website, and this includes of up to 5 pages. But you're free to charge your website as you wish, because it's now you, and that's the aspect of web design in building a website. You can charge 5,000 shillings, you can charge 3,000 shillings, you can charge 10,000. So depending on the different factors that were mentioned. So whatever you charge here should be able to cater for hosting, should be able to cater for domain, should be able to cater for maintenance of the website for a period of not less than 1 year. And then looking at further at the cost of building the website, talk about maintenance. So we have website maintenance as other cost of building the website. So we're talking about A website needing constant updates and maintenance in order to help the intended users. So talk about marketing, which is also an important part of that, to make sure while you're calculating the cost of your website, also include the cost of maintenance. If you're building a website using WordPress content management system, you are bound to need to update plugins on a regular basis, and plugins gets updated on a daily basis. So 1 month away from your website, not even 1 month, a week away from your website, you'll find that there are a couple of plugins that need to be updated. If you don't update this plugin, that means your website is going to run slower than other website, and then that's going to be a disadvantage to you. So you need to think about website maintenance, marketing, search engine optimization, that a lot of people run away from, because this in this instance is a little bit expensive. And then we have specialty design. So if you need extra features, if you need extra functionalities, if you need extra pages, for instance, it's going to cost you extra. Think about e-commerce, think about education, think about catalog, think about web portal websites. They cost more because the number of paid plugins that you need to run these websites. And then we're talking about the website CMS, the content management system. And we're not specifically talking about the cost of buying the CMS, but in most cases, most CMS are open source and free. But there are builders, there are plugins, there are themes that you need to buy to run your website on this CMS. And these plugins, these builders, these themes are paid. So let's look at number one, which is the builder. So we're saying a builder make it easy to create website. Actually, it would be very hard to create a website even on a CMS without a builder, because a builder is what really removes the coding part of building a website. So there are top 3 builders called Elementor, and we're going to learn this course using Elementor. And then we have Divi, and then we have what we call Breezy. So one advantages between Elementor and Breezy is that they have free versions, but free is limited, so you have limited usability. So secondly, what you're going to need to build a website is what we call a WordPress theme, and saying that a theme allows you to customize the look and feel of your website. WordPress in itself offers several free themes, because you actually need a theme to build your website. WordPress offers several themes, templates, but you have an option also to upgrade to premium templates. Even the premium templates, talk about world-class premium templates of themes, they have a free versions that you can try. And then we have top themes that you're going to use. It's the Astra theme, which is common for building portfolio website. We're going to use Astra theme for this course. And then lastly, we have the plugins. So certain features that most businesses use require that you use a plugin. Some include, but not limited to, forms, photo galleries, or optimization plugins. So the features that you see on your website, you need a plugin to be able to run that feature. Talk about user registration, talk about the contact forms. So you need a plugin to be able to run that feature. And we have common plugins such as WP Formlite, used to build a contact form. We have Monster Insights. You connect your website to Google Analytics. We have all-in-one SEO for marketing your website. And then most importantly, you have Updraft for backing up your website. So basically, those are the things that while you're quoting for the price of a website, you need to take into consideration the cost of these aspects. Talk about plugins, talk about domain, talk about hosting, talk about the CMS, the themes, talk about the builder. But as a web designer, most cases you'll have this already. So when you're building a website, maybe on the first time, you'll need to buy a builder, but you're able to use that builder on several websites. CMA. So basically that's it for this course. That marks the end of our building a website session. So see you in the next class.